This event is being put on by BBB and Guaranty Trust. This is Dave Delaney from Google.
Hey. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's great to be here, everybody. I am thrilled to be here. So I'm here today, obviously, to talk about digital marketing. And I'm going to, as Don said, I'm going to do this presentation first, going through some intro bits, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll go through another presentation about measuring the results of some of the stuff that you're doing. Because obviously measurement is important in all this stuff. I do encourage you, as time permits, of course, but I do encourage you to, if I say something and you're like, what? Then just put up your hand and ask me. I'm happy, 2 hands, whatever. I can't tell if you're raising the roof or you're putting up your hands. But anyway, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask me as we go through this. My name is Dave Delaney. I have a digital marketing agency called Futureforth, based here in Nashville. I write for the Tennessean, so you might have seen my face in the paper a couple times a month. I wrote a book also called New Business Networking. And the reason why I mention that is because I'm a big proponent of networking, doing it nicely, doing it well. And my own career has taken all sorts of different turns and things over the years, but it's interesting. I had a great relationship with Google, and when they started this program, they wanted people with agencies to go out and speak on their behalf. And so, while I'm not a Google employee, I can answer questions related to stuff. So just so you understand. So my company is called Futureforth. Cool? By the way, I'm also Canadian, so if I say a lot, that's because I'm Canadian, but I've been here 12 years, so I might drop y'alls and A's. So if it sounds really weird, that's why. So anyway, okay, so we're here to talk about intro to online marketing. I'm hoping this all works, and we're gonna start with a quick video to give you a taste, and then we're gonna go from there, and I hopefully won't have to touch my machine again. So a big part of what we do is take advantage of the moments, not take advantage, but use these moments to be found by potential customers, right? So those are all different situations where, people are online and they're searching for stuff. An example of this too, just not too long ago, I drive a bit of an older car and I wanted to upgrade my stereo and I wanted Bluetooth functionality. And so I Googled how to upgrade my stereo, and I found this Bluetooth box, and I watched the video on YouTube to say okay, yeah, I think I can actually install this. Now you have to know me to understand, I don't know how to use a screwdriver. So the fact that I was able to install a Bluetooth stereo in my car, my wife was completely freaking out and kind of scared because she thought I would destroy the car. But I just followed this YouTube video, and from seeing the video, I saw that it was really clear, and I clicked the link in the video, and I went to the website, and I purchased the thing, and then I installed it. So all these moments happen, no matter what our businesses are, that we can, if we're there with the right content at the right time, we can hopefully find a new client and build new relationships that way. So the agenda today in this presentation is to talk about being found by local customers. So how many people have a Google My Business listing? Okay, so maybe a quarter of you. Okay, so I'm gonna be talking about that. I'll walk you through the steps on how to get that set up. Be found everywhere on all devices, so optimizing your website for search on mobile. It's no longer, like, I've worked in digital marketing for so long that I remember talking to clients and saying, you know, we need to be thinking about a mobile plan. We need to be thinking about how your website will work on mobile, because eventually that's coming. That's here now, right? We're living in that time now. And that's changing, like, it's not changing, it's continuing to grow. Mobile access is constantly changing, or constantly increasing. So optimizing your website for search and mobile, and then being found with online advertising through Google AdWords and AdWords Express. So I'll talk a little bit about that too. Most of the stuff I'm talking about today, by the way, I'm not here to sell anything. It's all free for you to do. The only exception to that, of course, is Google AdWords. But I'll talk about that and how it's not, like, the impressions are actually free, but I'll get into that. So being found by local customers, right? As I said, 76% of people who search on smartphones or for something nearby visit a business within one day. Have you been there? Have you done this? I think a lot of times I do this whenever I'm driving, and I'll stop and, like, get gas, and I'll be hungry, so I'll look up on my phone for a local restaurant. I always try to go to the local restaurants when I'm traveling and things. And so just doing a search, finding a restaurant, yep, going to the restaurant, right? Making sure they're open, maybe calling them through the search. But 76%. And then 80% of consumers used a search engine when looking for info about local businesses. Again, I'm sure you do that as well, right? So it is crucial that you're set up right, and that your business listing is set up correctly, and that you're looking good, so that when someone searches for your type of business and the solution, the products, the services that you sell, you know, you want to be among the top, hopefully, that they find. How many people have done that? Like Thai food near me, right? It's now, actually, Google's algorithm now automatically assumes that you're going to say near me. It actually adds it, knowing that you're searching for that, because so many people were searching for near me, right? So near me searches, near you opportunities, right? So it starts with the phone. They do a Google search. They find a business listing there. By the way, I have a puppy at home. If you have a puppy and a laser pointer, that is the best thing ever. It's just watching her run around. It's amazing, and just hilarious too. And then, of course, when they click through, they land on your website or on your page where they can contact you, make a purchase, that kind of thing. So, and by the way, if you would like a copy of this presentation or my next presentation or both presentations, I've got business cards just up on the projector there. Come up, grab a card, and email me, and I will send you the presentations. So if you want to, you know, if you need that, I'm happy to do that. But at any rate, if you go to GYBO, which stands for Get Your Business Online, which is why I'm here, gybo.com/business, you can actually start to set up my business. And so the business listing, of course, is when you do a search for a specific business. What you hope is that your business will appear in this box. And you can control the content that appears in that box, which I'll talk a little bit about here too. So obviously you want, because otherwise if you don't have this, then it's just going to be blank, or, you know, so you're not gonna find your business there. So maybe, hopefully, it'll be among the top search results, maybe. But you really want that, because that gives you an opportunity. If you're a local business with a brick and mortar, you know, that gives you the map, the Google map, so that people can find your location, they can contact you, they can see your hours. And then Google's local results, you know, obviously this info will show up on tablets and display on desktop, and, you know, you want it to be formatted so it fits everything. And when you create your Google My Business listing, it walks you through really simply the steps of uploading images and things like that to make sure that your site is looking good. You guys with me? Cool. It's always nice to talk at this time of the day because everybody's fully caffeinated from the morning. So make the most of your listing. So some of the things that you can do with Google My List or Google My Business is you can complete your business information, of course. We've got Jackalope right there. Anybody know Jackalope? You guys don't know Jackalope? They're right in Nashville. They're great. Women-run brewery too, and tasty beer. So it's a good spot. I used to actually host events there a while back. So make the most of your listing, as I said. You complete your business information, so what you do, where you do it, your hours of operations. Maybe you have holiday hours. So you don't want somebody, that's a pretty poor experience if somebody Googles your business and then they go to it like a restaurant and then you're closed because it's Easter or whatever. So as I said, you can add photos. What's nice about this too is it has an app. So you can actually take photos right in your business and upload them directly using their app. Of course, it's free as well. So, and then you can consider a virtual tour by a Google trusted photographer. So they can actually come and do like a 3D, do a photo of like a photo tour of your business. Sometimes when you Google and you find a business, you can actually walk through and look through the videos and stuff that they have. So that, not to be confused with Google Street View. You guys know the Google car that goes around with the camera on the top? That's different. By the way, I'm pretty proud of this. Side note completely. So I work from home and I live in a cul-de-sac and I saw the Google car, the Street View car coming up the hill. So I dropped everything, I ran out to the front lawn. My family's like, what's wrong, Dave? I ran out and I was just like, and they caught me. They actually got it. Like, they blur out your face. But my body was like, now they've updated it since, unfortunately, which makes me sad. But for a good year, I was able to show my house to friends and they'd be like, oh, that's hilarious. So anyways, totally off topic. So you want to engage with customers, right? You want to use the app or use the listing on the website to be able to engage with customers. And to do that, you can share updates or posts. These are pretty brief, but they're like, we're having a sale today. We're doing something exciting this week, whatever it may be. You can share updates with posts. Anybody try this? I know it's like a quarter of you are using this. Have you guys done that yet? Yeah? Cool, excellent. So you can add photos, and the thing with technology, Google included, is that things change, right? So I'm always trying to keep up to date with what's going on. So sometimes they make changes, they let me know, but sometimes they make changes and it's pretty exciting to see what's happening. So if you haven't tried that yet, I would definitely start sharing posts. Almost like blogging, but just short form. And then communicate with messaging. So you can use the app to message customers or for customers to message you, right? So they can actually send you a message through the app to say, are you open right now? Do you have the red dress I saw for sale? I don't wear red dresses, just to be clear. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Red dresses are lovely. Read and respond to reviews. So if somebody leaves you a review on your business, you can actually see them there, but you can actually respond to them too. A big tip on responding to reviews is that if it's a negative review, the best thing to do, in my opinion, this is what I've done in the past with my clients, is always try to take that offline. So always respond and say, I'd love to hear more about what happened or the product or whatever. And then try to get the conversation offline to email, to phone, so that you don't have this whole back and forth thing, because then those things can blow up. As we've seen, if you haven't seen stories like that, they happen. So it's good. It's always good to take the conversation offline, right? So you can reach more customers with your Google My Business. So we know from customers, that's how they find us. And this is from Pie Junkie in Oklahoma City. They are a case study. They've used this really effectively and increased their business substantially, all from using Google My Business. And the good thing is that, and I'll get into Google Analytics and things like that, ways that you can measure the results in the next session. But it's not just we think this is working, our guts feel that it's working, but that we actually know, yes, it is working. This is converting, this is selling this amount, this is earning this amount of money, or getting this many leads, that kind of thing. So we want to be found everywhere, right? And we want to be found on all devices. So if somebody's on a smartphone, if somebody's on a slow connection, like a slow speed on their phone, All of this is really important so that people can find us because they'll abandon your website if it's not loading. So before you begin, you want to make a plan, right? How many people don't have a website for their business yet? Don't. Okay, so a few of you. Okay. It's just good to know so that I can help you with that too. So before you begin, and even if you have a website, which most of you do, that doesn't necessarily mean you have a plan, right? You might have a business, you have a website, but maybe no plan. So why do you want a website? That's the first question. Why would you want a website? Anyone? You all have websites, come on. Why? For business, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Any other reasons? Exposure, yeah, that's good. That's great. Yeah, business, exposure. You want to show up in search results. So, who's your target audience? So you really need to know who your target audience is, right? Who are your customers? So, if you're a local brick and mortar here and you only serve Middle Tennessee, then if you're getting tons of traffic from Atlanta or Toronto, got to give myself a shout out. That's not that important to you because they're not going to do business with you. So being able to understand who your target market is, do you target women, men, are there age groups, all of that stuff are important. Levels of income. And then how will you reach them? So obviously the website's a big part of this, but this gets into your content marketing plan. It gets into how to use digital marketing assets, how to use social media, content marketing, all that stuff. And I'll talk more about it. And then how will you measure success? As I said, if you're an agency, and you provide digital marketing services to clients, or if you work for a business and you do digital marketing for your VP or CEO or whomever, eventually you're going to get the question, what's my ROI, right? You're going to get that, or you're going to ask that question. I've been writing tons of blog posts, I've been writing tons of email newsletters, but what's my ROI? What is the return that I'm getting? So being able to measure that success is extremely important. And then SEO, right? Search engine optimization. So this means making sure that your site shows up so that when somebody Googles not just your brand name, because maybe they don't know your brand name yet, but maybe they're looking for Bluetooth stereos. Then if they're Googling Bluetooth stereos, you want your business to be among the top, right? So SEO is extremely important. The good thing with SEO too is that when you show up in Google search organically, meaning free, that's nice, it's free. And that's a good area to monitor is the organic traffic that your site gets. And I'll talk more about this too. So for search engine optimization, and by the way, this gets into like Google's algorithm. If I knew Google's algorithm, I would be a very rich man, right? So nobody truly knows Google's search algorithm. I don't even know if people at Google know it exactly. There's lots of different moving parts and it changes from time to time to determine, whether the site should be among the search results. We talked a little bit before. A couple of us talked about, people that call you from Google that say, hey, we'll get your website to #1 in Google. I would hang up and run screaming. Or scream a little and then hang up. I don't know. It's up to you. Just be very careful. There's a lot of snake oil salesmen out there. So search engine optimization. Organization matters. That means the content that's on your website, is it organized in a way that makes it easy to be found? Is the most important information at the top of the page where people can find that? So the layout of content is important. That gets into what's called user experience, right? And the user interface so that a visitor to your site doesn't leave giving up. Has that ever happened to you where you've gone to a website and you're like, I don't know where the thing is? And you're like, I'm out. Right, so that's extremely important. Useful, original content. When you create original content that's useful, that's entertaining, that's inspiring, that's all of the above, that content gets shared on social organically because people find it and they find it useful. And that's something that Google's looking for as well, right? And then text links. So if it's just like a text link, not a click here, but we have the best apple pie in Murfreesboro, then linking that. Text links really help as well, both inbound and outbound, meaning inbound text links would go to other sections of your site. So contact us today with a link to the contact page. External links or outbound links go to like other sites. Like we use apples in our apple pie from wherever the apples come from, and then linking to that orchard, Okay, I'm not really up on the orchards. You found me. You found me out. And then Google page titles and descriptions. So the titles of your pages are very important as well. So if you go to your website and your title up at the top is home, I don't think somebody's well, maybe they are. Some of you are realtors. So good page titles that describe what those pages are really do help in search. A fast load time, which is paramount, and I'll talk more about how to do that with your sites. Fast load time is extremely important now more than ever. And then optimizing images as well so that your images aren't too big and they don't slow down the load time of your site. If you go to google.com/webmasters, does anybody familiar with Google Search Console? No? Couple? Okay. Yeah. So Google Search Console used to be called Google Webmaster Tools, so you might be familiar with it with that name. What Search Console does is it gives you sort of an overview of how Google is finding your website, like what it finds when it looks at your website. And it can be very, very useful. So if you go to google.com/webmasters, again, this stuff is free. So I'll talk more about that for a second. And I'll get into this a little later as well. But the Search Console will also tell you when links are broken on your site. And if Google is finding a bunch of broken links on your site, I can't speak with certainty, but I would imagine that it's going to affect your search results because, right, Google's looking for sites that function really well, that users are finding what they need, and that if people are, if there's a bunch of broken links, that's a problem. So Search Console can tell you about that. Content marketing. How many people are doing content marketing for their businesses? Okay. Wow, okay, so not a lot of you. I would say content marketing is among the most important things that you can do for your online business. So there's a lot of you in the room that have websites for your businesses, but you're not doing content. And content gets into things like, trying different formats like text and video. So maybe you want to do some video work. If you hate video, you don't want to see yourself on camera, you don't have to do video. But like the Bluetooth example, I found the video. I Googled, and of course YouTube is the second most popular search engine after Google, and Google owned YouTube, right? So having videos can really pay off, and it did in that example. So try different formats, and I can talk more about this type of stuff. Try different types of content, like how-to articles. So if you own, I have a client that clears land, that does land clearing, and he has like different tractors and tools and machinery. So he could do some videos like how to do this by hand, like how to clear your land by hand. Of course, like this may be handy to someone who has a small piece of land that they want to clear by themselves. They don't, maybe their buddies want to help them out. But if they find that it's not working well for them, then they may hire this gentleman, right? Anybody heard of Marcus Sheridan, Sales Lion? Okay. Marcus is a friend, and he now speaks a lot, but he's an extremely successful guy. He had a above ground or in ground, I can't remember, pool business, swimming pool business. And if you Google like questions related to that industry, you're probably going to find his blog posts on his company's website. So if you're trying to like figure out, how much is a pool going to cost, or how do I upgrade my pool, or anything like that, you're probably going to find content on his company's website. So of course, if you find the answers on his website, you're going to be like, who is this guy? Oh, and he sells that, right? Gary Vaynerchuk, anybody know Gary V? Yeah. So Gary Vaynerchuk is also like a poster boy of social media because Gary started his business, which is now like multi-million dollar business among multiple businesses, but that's a different story. But his whole thing, he started something many years ago called Wine Library TV. And he would do wine reviews, and of course he sold an online store, or he had an online store that sold wine. And so he would like write blog posts constantly about questions people have about wine. And so when you found the answers, you'd be at his website and you'd see, oh, this guy sells wine. Oh, and it's 2 for 1. Oh, and they ship here for free. And he would sell. Does that make sense? Cool. So how-to articles, top 10 lists, of course, educational material, any of this type of stuff that can be helpful, can be useful to people is stuff that's gonna, that's gonna do well. It's gonna perform well. And then latest research and trends. So if you work in a business where you have research, a friend of mine, Tom Webster, works for a company, Edison, and they've been tracking podcasting since the early days of podcasting, among other things. And so they release the research that they find all the time. They just did a big report on podcasting. And of course, everybody knows him. If you're a podcaster, you've heard of this share of ear report. And that's because they're constantly doing research and then sharing that research, those findings. So if this is something that you can do with your business, sometimes it's as simple as doing, I worked for a company and I had this idea of doing words for Valentine's Day for promotion. We did words of love. What words make you think of love? And then we created like this infographic about the most popular words associated with love. So not a scientific survey or anything like that, but something kind of fun. So really brainstorming. This is what I do with my clients a lot of the time, is help them develop ideas and content around that. So make sense? Cool. Anybody go to Google Trends? Okay, one of the funniest searches on Google Trends, tragically funny, is if you Google "my eyes hurt" on googletrends.com, guess what day that peaks? Anyone? My eyes hurt?
Friday.
What's that? Friday, that's a good one actually, but no. January 2nd, yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, right. It was actually the eclipse. It was the eclipse. Can you believe that? So if you go to Google Trends and you search "my eyes hurt," people were searching "my eyes hurt" just after the eclipse on Google. Just so sad. What's wrong with people? Did we not get the memo? What's that? Yeah, that's right. So yeah, anyway, if you're not familiar with Google Trends, if you go to google.com/trends, you can see any trending stories, trending news items that are happening right now, every day. And you can actually go back. They do a really great video recap of the year at the end of each year. That's pretty cool. That shows sort of the highs and the lows of each year. But this can be very popular or very useful in your content marketing strategy. Because if you're trying to come up with ideas for content, you may find pearls of wisdom in Google Trends. So for example, now I never recommend jumping on a news story that's about a tragedy or something terrible, but if it's like the Academy Awards or something like that, maybe you sell red dresses and there are people wearing red dresses at the Academy Awards that look like the stuff you sell. That could be a blog post, right? So there's a lot of opportunity if you look at google.com/trends to keep an eye on what's trending, right? I did not keep an eye on the time, so if you want to wave me over, that'd be great. Anybody heard of social media? Okay, so social media marketing, obviously an important part of your overall digital marketing strategy. And again, if you just have a website but you have no content that you're creating for that website beyond what's already there, then you don't have a lot of reason to be you don't have a lot of reason to drive people back to your site, right? Back to your business. So you may be on social media sharing articles and networking with people and things like that, which is awesome. But if you want people to come to your site and use social media for your business outside of paying, but organically, if you want people to go to social media and find your stuff, I mean, that's ultimately what you want. So I always urge my clients to focus on email marketing, because with social media is great, it's amazing, but you don't own your audience on social media, right? You own an email list, and those people have given you, hopefully, have given you permission to reach out to them. But with content, with social networks, I'm not saying don't use them. Certainly you should be using them. But understand that the ultimate goal, as it pertains to your business, is to drive people to your site for them to do something. Whether it's buy a widget, whether it's fill out the contact form, whether it's sign up for the newsletter or download a white paper, you should be always thinking of that call to action and what you want the person to do who comes to your site, right? Because that gets, again, into that ROI question. What's the return on investment of social media? What's the return on investment? If you're tracking, right, and I'll talk more about that in the next presentation, you'll be able to know what's happening. So some of the content in social media, some tips in social media marketing: make the content entertaining and engaging. I have failed in sharing videos of my puppy, Peggy. She's so cute. The laser pointer, that would be a good video. So entertaining and engaging. Make content that's entertaining and engaging. Useful and actionable. It doesn't have to be all these things, by the way, but if it is, even better. And then visually appealing, having some great photography of your business, of your products, of your staff, having those photos of your team working, bless you, all of that can be really appealing. And then targeted. So, if you're trying to reach, I'm generalizing, but if you're trying to reach like teenage boys, then you're not going to go to Pinterest, where it's more, middle-aged, older women that tend to use Pinterest, right? I guess, again, generalizing, but you need it. and me also, I use Pinterest. But again, that's why I'm saying generally. Same with Facebook, right? Like teenagers aren't on Facebook as much as the fastest growing, I can't say with certainty right now, but I've heard like one of the fastest growing segments are older people who have grandkids because they want to see pictures of their grandkids. So being targeted in the stuff that you're using and how you're reaching them is really important. There it is. That's the one I mentioned, right? Email marketing. How many people have an email newsletter for their business? Okay. How many people use it? Yes. Okay. How many use it like monthly? Nice. Cool. Okay. This is where I shamelessly plug. I just started a weekly email in January. So I do a weekly email newsletter of just cool stuff I find on the internet. Anyway, so email marketing is great. But of course, in order to do it effectively, you need to make sure of these things. For example, a clear subject line. During Obama's first, I think it was the first campaign or I can't remember. But his number one opened email had the subject line, "Hey." So pretty like amazing that, where you would just expect very straightforward, "Hey." So sometimes if you are, and some of you are, frequently doing your email newsletters, maybe reconsider the subject line. If you always send the same subject line, people might get bored of that. Or if you just send something with like, I know I've experimented with different like emoji, like different little emoticons and stuff like that. Sometimes you get a better open rate when you just add that. So having really clear subject lines, a call to action. Everything in online marketing, you should be thinking CTA, 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 CTA. Call to action. So what is my call to action? So in the email newsletter, you're not going to send an email newsletter to say, things are things and blah, blah, blah. Okay, what am I supposed to do with that? Click, nothing to click. What? Okay. Instead, you want to have it like big things and exciting things, and then click to read more about the things or to buy the things, right? You want a call to action in your email. that's going to take the recipient off to back to your website where they can purchase something or interact with you or read a blog post or whatever it is. So clear subject lines, a call to action, great mobile design. So there's different email service providers. Some are better than others. If you're doing it just through Outlook or something, that may not be great. You do want to be using a good email newsletter platform, but use one that has a good mobile design. Because again, people are opening email on their phones more than they are on desktop a lot of the time when they're out and about. So if that's when they open it, you want to make sure that it's going to work well for them, right? Content targeted or personalized for recipients. So this is where you can add first name. I've seen studies where if you add a first name in the subject line, they're more likely to open that email. Or in the email itself, it may say, "Hi, Dave, blah, 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 blah." And so personalization is interesting in email marketing. It can work well. It can also backfire miserably. How many people have got an email newsletter that's like, "Hey, first name"? How many people have sent an email? No, you don't have to tell me. It's happened. I've seen it. So personalization is extremely, it can be very helpful, but be careful with it so that you're doing it right. And then of course, correct spelling and grammar. That's a given. And don't forget mobile, right? So focus on navigation on your homepage. Make sure the navigation is clear, accessible, easy. Make it easy to search the site. Make it easy to complete the tasks on your site. Make it easy to fill out those forms and optimize for usability, making sure that the page works well for the user. Right? And then you want to test your website speed. I mentioned this at the top. This is extremely important. If you go to testmysite.thinkwithgoogle.com, I apologize for the really long URL. Again, if you need a copy of the presentation, just grab one of my business cards and email me and I'll send it to you. Testmysite.thinkwithgoogle.com will tell you how fast your website is loading, and it'll give you some feedback on how to improve that load time if you need it to be improved, and most of the time you do. And some of those solutions are easy and some more technical, so you may need someone to help you with that. And reach more customers with social media. So again, using social media, that's a perfect way to generate tons of traffic, to get people aware of you, to learn about you. So it's something you should be investing in and thinking about as part of your overall strategy. And of course, because somebody's on Twitter and they click your link, if they get to your site and your site's not loading fast enough, they're out of there. And then Google online advertising. So obviously, how many people use Google AdWords? Okay. How many people use Google AdWords Express? So Google AdWords Express is a little newer. And Google AdWords, I'll admit, can be a little daunting to use. Not that it's bad to use, but it can be a little confusing at first, a little overwhelming, let's say. And what's nice with Google AdWords Express is it kind of gives you sort of a really simple way to go through the process. So. And again, ads appear at the top here. They say ad. So somebody said, if you want to be on the top of Google search results, that would be organic. And then the little ad box there would be a paid advertisement, right? And then along the top, things like that. And you can also advertise, that's where they appear on Google, but they also appear on websites that are part of Google's program so that they appear. So maybe like a local news station will actually have Google ads. So you can actually make your ads appear there if that's where you want to target. Search engine marketing tips, define goals in advance. And I'm going to get into this more on the next presentation. Pay for clicks or phone calls, create compelling ads, control where ads are displayed, and then track performance and improve. And I will talk more about this as well. And there's AdWords Express. If you go to gybo.com/awexpress, you can get in there, you can choose category, write the ad, decide where you want those ads to appear, set a budget, and launch. Now that does cost money, but, and this is what I mentioned at the top, often people get confused with the way this works. You pay when the ad gets clicked. So if your ad's just appearing everywhere, but nobody's clicking it, you're not paying a cent. You only pay once somebody clicks the ad. And Google Analytics. How many people are using Google Analytics? Okay, not too many. I highly recommend you install Google Analytics, and I will talk more about that after. But, and if you go to google.com/analytics, install it now, sooner than later, because you want to record what's happening on your site. What Google Analytics does is gives you an overview of what's happening on your site. How many people are coming to your site? How many people from a social network are coming to your site? What are they doing on your site? Where are they from? What is their sex? Where do they live? Not their physical address, but like what city. And if you install Google Analytics today and you don't do anything with your website for months or a year or something, you'll have historic data to refer back to, so that when you do start doing stuff, you'll see, oh, we were way down here before, and now we're like, whoa, look at that. So you'll be able to compare that to where you were today. And of course, if you need help with your Google ads, you can go to google.com/partners, and you can find reps to help you with those. And I'm going to skip that. And so the next steps for this presentation that you should be thinking about, you want to be found locally, of course, for your, so if you go to gybo.com/business, get yourself set up, try a combination of different channels, and then be found online with Google AdWords Express. And you will need a Google account, a Gmail account to do this. Again, those are free, so google.com/accounts can get you set up. And I'll skip that. And thank you.